Well. Look at that. You do not move like them. You never have. Even when you stand still, something about you is active. Even when you say nothing, something about you is speaking. You walk into spaces and the air tightens, not because you are loud, not because you demand attention, but because your presence carries structure. You process differently. You pause where others rush. You notice where others overlook. You calculate without announcing it. And you have felt it. That quiet moment when people look at you a second longer than necessary. That slight adjustment in their tone. That sudden politeness that appears without explanation. They cannot name what they sense. They only know something is off. You were never trained in a facility. No instructor shaped you. No manual explained you. Yet your behavior resembles discipline. Your restraint resembles conditioning. Your silence resembles control. Not the fragile kind. Not the performative kind. The kind that survives pressure. You do not waste motion. You do not leak emotion. You do not broadcast intention. And that unsettles people. Because instinctively, humans recognize patterns that predate language. Operator patterns. Survival patterns. You move like someone who expects resistance. You listen like someone who tracks shifts. You watch like someone who maps terrain. Not terrain of land. Terrain of minds. You never asked to be this way. You did not choose it. It revealed itself over time. Moment by moment. Test by test. Betrayal by betrayal. Until one day you realize something quietly terrifying. Your calm is not normal. Your patience is not passive. Your silence is not empty. It is loaded. And somewhere, in systems you will never see, that pattern triggers curiosity, not admiration, not praise, recognition, the kind reserved for anomalies. You did not become different. You remembered that you always were. Life did not make it easy for you. People have underestimated you, misjudged you, and often dismissed your presence as insignificant. Doors closed without reason, opportunities slipped through your hands, and subtle acts of sabotage tested your focus. You were left on the outside, watched, ignored, and sometimes even betrayed by those you trusted. And yet, none of it broke you. Every setback became a lesson, every obstacle a hidden instruction. The pressure you faced was not punishment, it was shaping you. Teaching you to move with caution, to read intentions before they were spoken, to control what others could not see. You learned to hold yourself steady when everything around you was unstable, to remain calm when chaos pressed in from every direction. Isolation became a teacher, forcing you to rely on your instincts and sharpen your perception. The world tried to define your limits, but with every misjudgment, you found new strength. Every slight, every doubt thrown at you only refined your awareness, teaching patience and precision. You began to anticipate reactions, to understand the undercurrents of human behavior, to see the patterns that others overlooked. Misunderstandings became opportunities to observe rather than react. Exclusion became a laboratory where your resilience was tested and strengthened. It honed you. You became someone who could move through tension without flinching, who could read situations with clarity, and who could endure without revealing vulnerability. The world intended to challenge you, to confine you, to shape you into something ordinary. Instead, it taught you to grow beyond expectation, to transform pressure into skill, and to emerge with a quiet mastery that few could recognize, and even fewer could match. People notice you more than you realize. They watch closely, measuring your actions, comparing themselves to what they see, trying to understand what makes you different. Curiosity masks itself as casual interest. Criticism hides envy. They probe for weaknesses, testing boundaries, searching for a way to predict your moves. Some try to influence you, to bend your direction without you seeing it, but you move through it all without hesitation. They believe they are discreet, but you see the rhythm behind their motions. The more they study, the more they expose themselves, and you absorb it, storing insight they will never know you have. Their questions, their doubts, their comparison. They are attempts to understand what cannot be fully explained. Their energy shifts when they realize control is not theirs to take. You sense who acts from fear, who acts from desire, and who simply cannot keep pace with the quiet certainty you carry. Their attempts to manipulate, to test, to influence, all fail because you operate on a different frequency. You are aware of every subtle strategy, every hidden intention, and yet you respond without announcing your awareness. Your presence alone becomes the measure of clarity they cannot match. They see you, they study you, and they fail to understand you, because your movements, your silence, your perception are not meant to be caught. They are signals of something they cannot replicate. You exist beyond their calculations, and that realization unsettles them more than anything you could ever say or do. Something shifted inside you. Not loudly, not dramatically, quietly. One day you noticed that emotions no longer controlled your choices. You still felt, but feelings stopped steering the wheel. Decisions became calm, clean, and steady. Silence was no longer something you fell into. It became something you chose. You stopped reacting instantly. You allowed moments to breathe. You watched before you moved. Your thoughts became organized. Your focus became sharp. What once felt overwhelming now felt manageable. Your body learned how to stay steady even under pressure. Your mind learned how to stay clear even in uncertainty. You no longer searched for reassurance. You no longer rushed to explain yourself. You understood that clarity does not need defense. Your boundaries became firm without needing to be loud. You started protecting your energy without guilt. You began choosing where your attention goes instead of letting it be taken. Hope was replaced by intention. Wishing was replaced by action. You stopped waiting for things to change and started adjusting your position within them. Your perception expanded. You began noticing layers in conversations, shifts in tone, and meaning behind words. You saw reality as it is, not as you wanted it to be. You accepted truths without resistance. You released expectations that drained you. You became comfortable standing alone in your understanding. You realized that strength is not force. It is control. It is patience. It is clarity. You no longer chase connection. You allow alignment. You no longer seek permission. You move when you decide. This was not a loss of emotion. It was mastery over it. A quiet upgrade. A silent calibration. You did not become colder. You became precise. And from that moment forward, you stopped living on impulse and started operating with awareness. When you enter a space, something shifts. It is subtle, almost invisible, but it is felt by everyone. Conversations pause just long enough for attention to settle on you. Words are chosen more carefully. Movements become measured. People unconsciously adjust their behavior, aligning without realizing it. Tension lingers, not from threat, but from awareness. Your energy carries weight, a quiet authority that does not demand recognition but commands it anyway. Influence no longer requires effort. It radiates naturally, like a gravity that pulls without strain. You do not speak to assert control. You do not act to prove dominant. Your presence alone sets the tone. Decisions, actions, and reactions of others bend subtly to the rhythm you create. No one needs to be told. They simply respond. Control is not flashy. It does not call attention to itself. It exists in the pause, in the look, in the way your calm affects the storm around you. People sense it and adjust before you even make a move. The room becomes a reflection of your focus, your boundaries, your intention. Your influence is automatic because it is authentic. It cannot be forced, copied, or hidden. Those around you operate differently without realizing why. They feel the difference before they understand it. You are not performing power. You are embodying it. It is in the air, in the shifts, in the quiet sway of energy. Your presence has changed the rules. You have become the measure by which others unconsciously align. And in that alignment, you notice the subtle power of observation. You see how influence moves, how attention responds, and how control spreads without a word. This is not about dominance. This is about being the axis around which the room revolves. You stop needing to be seen. The old habits of proving yourself, chasing approval, and announcing your presence fell away without effort. You moved quietly, deliberately, like a shadow that shapes the space without calling attention. Your work, your growth, your influence all became private. You built without spectators, achieved without applause, and learned without interruption. The world around you grew smaller because you no longer measured your value by external recognition. Yet inside, your life expanded in ways no one could observe. Every thought, every decision, every refinement of skill had a depth to your being. You watched more than you spoke. You absorbed without comment, taking in details others missed. Relationships and interactions became intentional rather than habitual. You no longer moved to fit expectations. You moved to fit your own direction. The noise of others faded because you no longer sought validation. Your presence no longer required performance. You observed patterns, read shifts, and acted only when necessary. You became a quiet force, steady and unassuming, yet impossible to ignore in effect. What you created inside could not be replicated, controlled, or influenced by anyone outside. The world saw a small portion of your activity, but inside, everything was larger, more precise, more controlled. Every step, every decision, every silent adjustment contributed to a form of mastery that required no audience. You learned that true strength is private, and the quieter you become, the further your influence spreads. Your transformation was not about display. It was about consolidation, focus, and a deep, unshakable self-containment that could not be disturbed. Your mind operates differently now. Observation comes before action. You notice what others miss, not out of curiosity, but out of understanding. Reactions no longer control you. Impulses are quieted by patience. Every decision is measured, every move intentional. You analyze situations instead of being pulled by emotion. You see timing as a tool, positioning as power, and restraint as strength. You understand leverage in ways others cannot, knowing when to act, when to wait, and when to let things unfold naturally. There is no need to rush or force results. You do not announce your intentions or seek recognition for them. Every choice is calculated, every silence deliberate. You let outcomes speak for you, knowing that presence and consistency carry more weight than words ever could. Your focus is precise. You notice patterns, read energy, and anticipate shifts before they happen. You do not react to provocations because they are already accounted for in your mind. You are patient, observing the world with a clarity that few can match, moving when the moment is optimal. Others act from desire, from fear, from habit. You act from strategy, from calculation, from understanding. Every action has purpose. Every inaction has purpose. You no longer allow distractions to dictate your path. You maintain control over your attention, your energy, and your presence. This is not arrogance or showmanship. It is cold clarity. It is the ability to see the world without distortion and to operate within it without compromise. You do not need to explain yourself. You do not need to justify your choices. You are in full command of your mind, your movement, and your impact, and the results always follow. You were never ordinary. You were never meant to fit into the shapes others carved for you. Everything you have become was not built from outside forces. It was always inside, quietly waiting for you to remember it. Nothing new was added. No skill, no power, no awareness came from imitation or instruction. You did not become stronger. You recalled what you always were. The calm, the precision, the clarity, the quiet authority. They were never foreign to you. Every challenge, every obstacle, every test only reminded you of what was already there. Your evolution is not a climb towards something greater. It is a return to your own design, a reawakening of a mind and presence that existed long before the world tried to define you. You move now without seeking approval, without needing recognition, because you understand that alignment is internal, not external. The energy you carry, the influence you exert, the patience you maintain, they are expressions of your original form, revealed through experience and understanding. You no longer chase or prove. You do not struggle to belong or to fit a pattern that was never yours. Instead, you inhabit yourself fully, completely, without compromise. Your power is quiet, natural, undeniable. You are not rising above. You are stepping back into the essence of who you were meant to be. Others may measure you, study you, envy you, or fear you. That does not change you. Their perception is irrelevant to the truth of your being. What matters is that you know it. You have remembered. The clarity, the mastery, the presence, all of it was always yours. You were never ordinary. You were never hidden. You were never incomplete. You were always this, and now the world sees it as naturally as you do.